Once again, hello everyone. Big virtual welcome to all of you. Good morning, good evening, afternoon, wherever you're joining from. I'm Syed, product marketing lead at Zoho Creator, and I'm truly excited to have you join us today. Today, we are diving into a crucial subject: how AI modeler in Zoho Creator can transform the way you handle complex business processes, making them simpler and more efficient. Our product engineers work tirelessly, bringing you new enhancements and updates each month, all with a single goal in mind to add more value to our customers on the journey. In recent times, we have all observed the impact of AI and the incredible results it brings to the table. In line with this, we are trying to introduce our AI modeler, uh, an innovative capability that allows you to integrate AI into your apps. You can use pre-built models or create custom, ones, all without writing a single line of code. Exciting, right? So in today's landscape, leveraging AI isn't just a competitive advantage; it's becoming a necessity. So we are excited to explore the limitless possibility this capability can bring to your business. So without any further delay, let me introduce Vasant Velumani, product engineer and the driving force behind the AI modeler. Hi, Vasant.
Hey Sayed, hello everyone. Great to have you with us. So, as soon as Syed can give you an agenda on what we are going to see as part of this session, and post that, I'll take you into the actual workings and the feature of AI Modeler itself, and probably give you a brief around what we're working on at the later stages as well. So, if time permits, yeah, we can dive a bit into that as well.
Thank,
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much, Vasant. Vasant will guide you through the introduction and exploring the new features of AI Modeler and demonstrating how you can use AI-backed OCR model for your projects. This will be followed by a demo and a Q&A session. Over to you, Vasant. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hey, thanks, Sayed. Thanks for that intro on what we're planning ahead. So hope all of you can see my screen. So since we have a mixed audience today, let me before going into the feature part itself, let me give you an intro of Creator itself, right? So I'll make this quick. Uh, so for anybody who has very little idea on what create the product Creator is. So Creator is a low-code application development platform that helps design, develop, and run any business software you need. So you may be from any industry as such, and you have business processes that need uh, improvisation, that needs process improvements in place, that you might be doing it manually. It needs some automation in place. So Creator takes care of all that for you. You can be from manufacturing, you can be from banking, healthcare, pharma, retail, transportation, any industry, any business processes can be worked on in Creator. So Creator, the business apps that you build on Creator can run on all devices, which means say you build your applications on web, it's going to work pretty much across all platforms, across all devices, on mobile, on iOS, Android, pretty much anything that you can think of, right? So along with that, we have uh, a product called Flow, where we have about 550 pre-built integrations to connect the tools that you already use. In case you want to bring the data into your applications in Creator, you can do that as well. And uh, and you can achieve excellence with visual blueprints. That's also possible on Creator. And in case you need to run any analytics and turn massive data sets into charts, and you can even use our Zia AI there to even derive powerful insights. All you have to do is bring your data into Creator, and you can use pretty much all of these features and uh, go from there. Right. So the last part, adding AI to your applications without coding. That's pretty much what we're going to dive into as part of the session. Right. So when it comes to AI, right? So a couple of years back, there was pretty much no talk around AI, and there were companies, huge companies who were doing their work on AI, but it never got to the masses, right? Before generative AI even came into picture, uh, most people, most businesses never use AI. I used to work for a startup, and there's no concept of AI in the picture itself. So now, if you see, like anybody, I have a paid OpenAI account as well. So AI has pretty much reached the masses right now, right? So one of the reasons why SMBs may not be able to bring AI into their applications or bring AI into their process is the complexity involved in like bringing AI to the business process, right? So one would be the implementation complexity itself, and other one is understanding AI use cases, like why you can, for what use cases you can use AI, right? So that's a challenge in itself. So which is why we've brought in a no-code builder where specific AI services can be used for specific tasks. And the analysts like Gardner even predicted saying that only 1 in 10 organizations are actually mature enough to deploy AI into their current business process. Right. So these are the some of the challenges that we saw in the industry itself, which is when back in 2019 we introduced AI into low code, our creator, where we brought in some of the AI services as part of the form as AI fields. So from there, we continued working on the AI fields itself, and now it's transformed into something called AI modeler itself. So we'll dive into that in the next few slides, right? So like I said, the traditional AI practices, right? So when you say traditional AI, it means you pretty much need a huge team to even work on something, work on a model itself. You need a lot of data. You need to work on data prep. You need to engineer the feature. You need to do a lot of pre-processing on the data, select the models that may be relevant for you, and do hyperparameter tunings there. So which needs a lot of statistics and programming understanding, and it involves a lot of uh, time as well to get to the model training part itself, right? So, and another challenge here is not all organizations actually have access to ML experts, right? So this is one huge challenge that we saw in traditional AI. Moving on to the no-code AI part, right? So no-code AI is pretty simple, along in line with the vision of Creator itself for anybody to build applications on Creator. So all you need is a relevant data as part of your model building. So you upload your relevant data and you train the model, you test the model, and you integrate the model right into your applications. It's as simple as that, right? So the best part about this is there is no ML or programming expertise required to get your hands dirty. You can just dive straight into it as long as you're a creator customer, right? So, like I said, democratizing AI is a huge part of why AI modeler came into picture in the first place, right? So, we wanted to make sure AI models, AI is something that anybody can use, right? So, it's designed for customers to easily add intelligence to their applications in Creator, and it's about reducing entry barriers for experimentation, right? So AI in Creator deals with three verticals basically. So we cover the automation part where anything that involves regular uh, day-to-day manual effort that should be solved with the help of AI, right? So that's one aspect that we're looking at. The other part is getting insights from data. Let's say you have a data set, you have a historical data set about orders, right? But you want to predict something that's going to happen in the future, and that is also possible with one of our AI models, which is the predictive analytics, right? And we have a couple of text intelligence models in place that can uh, predict or give insights on the based on the text that you give as an input, right? So those are the three areas that we are targeting for AI and Creator. Okay, so what's new, right? So, like I said, back in 2019, the whatever we have as AI models right now worked as AI fields. So, which means it was narrowed, it was tied to the form itself, where it didn't work as service. It was just, but you could use the service in your forms, but it's not like you can build the service out of the form and consume it anywhere, right? So now AI models work as a microservice, which is a huge deal in itself, and where these models can, as long as you have the relevant data, these models can function as independent deployable services. So you build your models in one place and deploy it anywhere across your applications, right? So what we've brought in as part of AI model, right? So the one aspect is, like I said, the microservice part, and we have brought in two new custom models for you. This was launched in February 23 for Creator 6 customers. The two new custom models that we brought in are custom OCR and custom object detection. And we brought in some much needed enhancements to the prediction model as well. Right. So that gives an overview of what AI modeler is, what is the vision for AI modeler. So we'll dive straight into the custom AI model part. So custom AI models, what are custom AI models, right? Uh, so the models that were present in Creator before this mostly functioned as models where you gave an input and it will give you a relevant output based on what the model is, right? So if somebody needed anything, any specific model to serve a specific purpose, right? So where the model has to be trained with your own data so that it can do a specific task. Those models are called custom AI models, where you need to train the models with relevant data before you can deploy the model into your applications, right? So we have two custom AI models around vision and one text-based model, which will be about predicting future outcomes, right? So I'll go into the OCR model first, the custom OCR model. So as the name suggests, an OCR model, what it does is you give the model an input of an image. It's going to extract all the text from the image and put it into your form fields, right? So previously, the OCR model was doing that, but we had cases where specific text from the fields had to be like extracted into form fields, right? So what the custom OCR model can do is it can extract specific text from images or PDFs into your form fields, right? So this could be something like you might be processing, let's say, 1,000 invoices a month. Uh, let's say you have these invoices in a similar format and you don't want to do manual data entry each and every time you go into a creator form. You can make use of the custom OCR model here, where you do a bit of training, but it's a one-time training, and so you're going to save a lot of time by not doing the manual data entry when you use the custom OCR model. So as part of the custom OCR model, you can add up to 10 fields per model, meaning you can extract 10 field value pairs. Let's say you have fields like invoice date, invoice amount, total, address, fields in your invoices. Like that, you can have 10 fields per model is what I'm saying, right? So the training data for OCR, right? So the training data for OCR is 5 images or PDFs in a similar layout. And like I said, the fields that you add as part of the OCR, 5 tags have to be made for each field, right? So anyway, I'll give you a demo of these models, which will give you a better picture once we dive into the demo part. So the use cases for custom OCR. So it you can use pretty much any data processing from your documents that you have that you type in manually. You can make use of custom OCR for that. Some common use cases would be invoice processing, PO processing, or identity documents that you process. Any legal documents you want to process in your apps, uh, uh, you can make use of a custom OCR model. So that so the whole aspect of OCR is centered around automation itself, where you reduce the manual data entry. So next comes the object detection model. So, uh, so the object detection model that we had previously was only able to detect 80 categories of objects, which means it had limited awareness, limited knowledge of the objects. But you might have a case in your business where you want to detect custom objects, right? By uploading an image, you can make use of the object detection model for that, where you enter the object name and upload 10 images for each object in varying angles, which means you pretty much like train the model to detect certain objects. When you do that, when you query the model with a similar image, the model is going to say that, hey, this is an object, this is a photo of a Coke or a Mountain Dew. So custom object detection model, as the name suggests, it's going to detect custom objects for you. So the use cases are common use cases that we see where these models can be used as in inventory and any sort of safety equipment detection in industries. Right. Moving on to the prediction model. Right. So prediction models are it's a text-based model where let's say you have a spreadsheet of data and you want to use that data to predict future outcomes of a certain uh, parameter, right? So you can make use of the prediction models for that. So prediction models will predict future outcomes from historical data, right? So pretty much anything from, let's say, if your customer is going to churn, if you're trying to predict defaults, or if you're trying to predict price based on your past prices, you can do that. You can predict fraud as long as you have the relevant data set, right? So what we've brought in for prediction as part of AI Modeler is you can now build a prediction model using a CSV. And another aspect is you can build a model using one application's data and deploy it into another application with the feature called field map, right? So those are the enhancements that we brought into prediction. We'll run through each of these models in detail when you go into the demo part for sure, right? So moving on to the ready to use AI models. Right. So as part of the ready-to-use AI models, we have two text-based models, which are keyword extraction and sentiment analysis. Pretty straightforward models. What it can do is you give a line of text as an input to this model. The model is going to extract key phrases and give it to you as an output. Right. So in this case, if you can see the image says the waiting lounge was a nice touch, especially with the free coffee. So I ran this line of text to the keyword extraction model, and it gave me the wait bearable coffee touch lounge were the key phrases in this text. So this is particularly useful when you want to classify customer feedback, right? So moving on to the sentiment analysis model, like what the model says, sentiment analysis will analyze text to determine the emotional tone as in positive, negative, or neutral, right? So in this case, you get a feedback from your customer saying, hey, your car service was good, exceptionally good, and it feels like driving a brand new vehicle now. Yeah. So this is definitely a positive sentiment, right? So the sentiment analysis can detect this as a positive sentiment. So it may not be just feedback. You can even understand the emotional tone behind an email or a ticket that comes in, depending on how you use Creator itself, right? And what kind of data you have. Moving on to the vision models and ready to use. Like I said, we have the object detection model, which can detect common objects in context when you upload an image, right? So when I say common objects, like I said, it is limited to 80 categories of data. So it could be your day-to-day objects that you see, cars, bottle, a ball, a bat. So beyond this, the model cannot pick up any image and detect it for you, for which you have to use a custom OCR model, custom OD model, sorry. Right. Moving on to the OCR ready-to-use model, right? So the OCR ready-to-use model can extract all text from an image as or PDF into your form. So in case you want to digitize some documents and bring the data into your application, you can make use of the custom OCR model to do that. The ready-to-use OCR model to do that, right? So next comes the pricing part, right? So this feature is available to try on all paid plans in Creator 6 with limited service requests. Okay, so what are these limited service requests, right? So as long as you're a C6 customer and you're in one of these plans, standard, professional, and or ultimate. If you're in a standard plan, you can make 200 AA calls per month uh, and consume these services in your apps, beyond which you have to purchase an add-on. If you're on professional or an ultimate plan, you can make up to 1,000 AA calls per month, which means technically if you have a custom OCR built, you can make 1,000 requests to extract the data in your form, right? So if you need an add-on beyond these limits, we have 3 monthly add-ons in place, $50, $100, and a $200 plan. So $50 gives you 50,000 AA calls per month limit, and $100 will give you 120,000, and $200 will give you 250,000 AA calls limit. Right? Yeah. So we can dive straight into the demo, but before that, I just wanted to check if you have any questions on the feature part so far. We'll be able to quickly answer them for you. Okay, how you training data on, is it possible to show us a real-time sample? Yes, we can do that for you. So when I'm going to dive into the demo, I'm going to show you how you can use the data and build AI models itself. So the next question from Miguel, does the sentiment analysis work in Spanish too? No, Miguel, not right now. So we only have support for English for the sentiment analysis, but I'll be happy to work with you on this requirement later and see how we can bring in sentiment analysis for Spanish as well. Does the AI microservice interact with Zoho CRM and Zoho marketing service? Question from Roosbe. No, Roosbe, not right now. So right now the AI microservices is particular to Creator, but you can always use our integrations to integrate Zoho CRM with our microservice as well, as long as you're using the service on our form fields. Okay, for invoice text detection, if you have similar invoices from different vendors, then do we need to create multiple models? As long as the invoices are in similar format, we don't need multiple models. But if they are of different format, we would need multiple models for it.
Then we have one by Anita. Can I create a model to extract the data from an XML and insert it into the book purchase order?
Right. Extract the data from an XML. No, we don't have XML support right now. So we only have support for image and PDF as part of the OCR model, but we'll be happy to take a look into this, Anita. C5 accounts won't have access to this feature. C5 accounts will have access to AA fields as such, but not the custom OCR and custom object detection model.
Thank you so much, Vasant. And thank you so much for your patience, everyone. We'll dive into the demo, and probably at the end of the session, we'll be taking further questions. Thank you so much. Over to you, Vasant.
Yes. Right. I hope you can see my screen right now. Syed?
Yes, Vasant. Yes. Your screen
Okay,
is
awesome.
visible.
Right. Okay, great. So the demo part, right? So let me just quickly run through where you can access AI Modeler in the first place and give you a brief of what kind of models are there, and probably build a custom OCR and a custom object detection and a prediction model as well for you, and test these models out for you. And I also have a pre-built application on Creator where I can show you how you can make use of these models as well. Right. So to access the AI modeler, if you're an admin in Creator 6, you will see the microservices section on the left. You go into the microservices section, create new, and create AI models. So which means you'll land on the AI modeler landing page, which will give you two different sets of models. Like I said, the custom models where you need to train these models with your own data, and the ready-to-use models, which you can deploy it straight into your applications. Right. So we also have one other part for you where if you have any specific requirements that the current AI models are not able to deliver. So we would appreciate it if you can just come here and share your requirement. So it'll come straight to me. So I'll be happy to take a look and uh, contact you and take it from there. Right. So diving straight into the custom OCR model. Right. So I have a set of invoices with me, which I'm going to process using this model. So let's give the name as invoice processing, and I'm selecting the training data as invoices. Right. So for the custom OCR model, there are two kinds of model: the image-based model and the PDF-based. Depending on the training data that you have, you would have to choose if you want to build an image or a PDF-based model. So one thing to note would be for a PDF-based model, you can use PDFs only up to 2 pages. So this is a limitation in terms of performance. So we are working on scaling this up as we move on. But right now, if you are using a PDF-based model, you can use PDFs up to 2 pages to build your model. Right. Right. So the invoices that we have. Right. So this is the invoice that I'm going to use to build the model. So where I'm going to uh, enter each of these fields, each of the fields that I want to extract values for, and the model can extract the values against each of these fields into the forms. Right. So let's say invoice number, where I select the data type based on the exact data type that's on your training data. So in this case, the invoice number is in number format. So I just put it as number. Let's go to invoice date, selected date. When you select the date, there's an additional format that you have to check. Let's say in this case, it's in day, month, year. So I select it as day, month, year. I have a purchase order in the invoice as well. So the data type I've added as text, and I have an address field as well, which is going to be in text. And I also have a total amount field, which is going to be number, right? So I've added 5 fields, which I want to extract from those invoices. So once I add those fields, I add the specific data and the format, I hit next, which means this is where I have to provide the training data to the model. It can either be in PDF or image. In this case, I have 5 PDFs of invoices. So I'm going to use that. So like I said, what is would be important here is to ensure that the PDFs that you upload are in similar format and it's up to 2 pages if it's a PDF. So moving into the tagging part. Right? So now that we have the training data in place, we also added the fields that we want to extract. We tag those fields here. So against invoice number, I just tag invoice number, invoice date, tag invoice date, purchase order, and this is the from address, so it's address and portal. Okay, so in case I'm here and I want to extract any additional information from here, I can do that as well. So let's say I want the email field from this document as well. So I select email and choose a field type. So you can add new fields either from here, or you can use the add new field option from here and add a new field and just tag those fields. So for each field that you add, 5 tags have to be made before you train the model. So I'm quickly going to go ahead and do that. So this is just a one-time thing that you do. So okay, so essentially what you're doing here is uh, letting the model know where your value is in your document, right? So the next time this a similar document comes in, it's going to be able to extract the values for you and put it in onto your form fields. Okay. So now that I have 5 tags for all the 6 fields that I've added, your next button is enabled here, which means you can go into the model summary part, which will give you an overview of all the fields you've added, the tags you've made, the date format, if any, and the data type that you have on your invoices itself, right? So it's a good idea to check the data type here, because if you made a mistake, the model might not be able to query for the correct value. So ensure that the data type matches the actual data type in your invoice itself. So we look good here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and train the model, right? So the custom OCR model will take about 10 to 15 minutes to train, but let's not wait that long. I have a similar model built for you, so I can straight away dive into that and give you a test model, right? So once the model is trained, you land in the model detail view where it'll give you details on the field names that are part of your model and the version details, if any. So once the model is trained, a version 1 is created. So in case you edit the model, in case you go into model operations and edit the model and add 2 other fields and train the model from there, it will be created as a new version, right? So at any point, you can edit the model and add new fields to it, but as long as the field is up to 10, right? So you can have a look at the version details that you have here. And once you deploy this model into your applications, we also show where your models are deployed in your apps and what field names are used as well, right? But for this, I'll just go straight away into the test model part where I use the same invoice that I use for training and test the model out. Right? It takes about 5 to 6 seconds for the model to query, but it's definitely faster than what it would take if you're going to type in the inputs manually yourself, right? So as you can see, the model has extracted pretty much all the data that we've asked it to extract. So this value will go straight into your form fields when you deploy this model into your form, right? So that gives you an idea of what the custom OCR model can do itself. We'll go into the custom object detection model now. So the same process, you go into microservice, create new microservice, go into AI models, and you'll land on the landing page where you have object detection. Go into object detection model. In this case, I have a beverage data set with me, so I'm going to detect uh, the beverages, let's say. So as for the model requirements, a minimum of 10 images should be added for each object, and each model can be up to 250 MB in size for object detection, right? So we'll quickly add the objects that we want to detect. In this case, my data set has 3 objects: a Coke can, a Sprite 330 ml can, and a Mountain Dew 330 ml can, right? So now that I've added the objects, I need to add 10 images for each object for the model to be trained. So in this case, you're helping the model understand, hey, this is an object of the Coke. These images are related to Coke, and these images are related to Mountain Dew and Sprite, right? So I have 10 images of Coke in varying angles. I'm uploading that. Done. 10 images of Mountain Dew as well. Uploading that. And perspective. Right. So now that we have 10 images for each object, just hit next, go into model summary, which will give you the details of the objects and the train images that you've had, and the model size as well. Ensure that the model size does not exceed 250 MB. That is the limit we have set for this model. And one tip here would be to add more images for each object that you add, which means your model will be able to detect the image that you upload when you infer the model accurately when you have more number of trained images in the model, right? In this case, 10 is enough. 10 is recommended, a minimum recommended number, but if you're going to upload 50 images, the model is going to work much better for sure. Right? So just hit train model. Okay, we'll come back to this later. In the meantime, I'm going to show you a similar model that I already have in place. So like you see the same objects that I added before to the model which we just trained. This model can detect Coke, Mountain Dew, and Sprite, and I'm going to go ahead and test the model out for you. Right. So I'm not going to use the training data in this case. I have some other data which I have not used to train the model. Let's see how the model performs. Right. So the model was pretty accurate in predicting that, hey, this is Sprite 330 ml with a 91% confidence score. That's pretty good. Anything above 80 is pretty good. Right. So this was also detected as a Sprite. Right. Yeah. You can accurately say that it's a Coke model. Right. So this way, if you have to detect custom objects in your business process where you have a use a lot of image fields in your applications and you have image data going into your applications and you have cases where you need to detect custom objects, you can make use of the custom OCR model. Right. Moving into the prediction model. Right. So I'm going to build a regression prediction model for you. There are two kinds of prediction models. We have a regression model which can predict numerical values, and we have a classification algorithm which can predict yes or no. So, like I said, when I gave you use cases of where prediction can predict fraud or it can predict churn, it is usually a yes or no, right? Let's say, is this customer going to fraud? It'll mostly be a yes or no. For that, the prediction will automatically use a classification algorithm and predict a yes or no, a Boolean kind of a prediction. And if your data set is going to predict a numerical value, it will use the regression algorithms, right? So in this case, I'm going to build a regression model for you, so which can predict price. Specifically, it can predict a car price. So I have a data set of historical data set of BMW price. So I'm going to use that data set and do a prediction for you. Right. So the first part, after you upload the training data, you go select the base column. Because we use the CSV to build this prediction model, it comes out as selecting a base column. If you're using an app data, it's going to say select your predicted the field that you want to predict. Right. So in this case, I like I said, I want to predict price, so I'm going to select the base column as price. So the base, I'm going to select price based on the other parameters here, right? So I hit next, select dependent columns, right? So on the data set that you uploaded, you select the columns which you think will influence this prediction. If I'm predicting price, so what are the fields that will influence this prediction, right? So one I could think of right away is mileage, right? So the more the mileage, the lesser the price. That's usually how it works, right? So next I would think of is the model year, right? The older the model, the lesser the price, right? Next also would be the model, correct? And the transmission also plays an influence. So I'm going to select transmission, fuel type, definitely, miles per gallon, definitely, and the engine size, probably the least influencing field here, but we'll add engine size to it as well. Tax, maybe not. The road tax, how much of it will influence the price of a car is not too sure. So I'm just leaving out tax here. So we'll use the other fields to make this prediction for you. Okay, so one other thing for prediction is it is important that you have a lot of records. Let's say a minimum of 10,000 records would be great. It can even do predictions with 1,000 records, but I would recommend having 10,000 rows of data to build a prediction model so that your prediction is accurate, right? So now that I have the base column and the dependent columns in place for the prediction, I just hit train model. Right. Prediction model will be trained fairly faster than most other models because it's a text-based model. But let's not wait for that. We'll dive straight into the testing part itself, right? So this is a similar model that I built before for you, and which predicts the price. So I'm diving straight into the test model part, where I'm going to input the model and see what I'm getting as a prediction, right? So let's say the engine size is 2 liter. I'm selecting the fuel type as diesel, and mileage is, let's say, 50,000 miles, and model, let's say in this case 3 series, miles per gallon, let's say 40, right? Transmission automatic, year, right? Okay, you would understand why year is an important parameter here, right? Let's say I give the model year as 2018, it's going to give me a value as 16,178. So the model thinks for a 2018 year model, the value based on the parameters I gave is 16,000, right? So I go right ahead and just change the year to 15, right? From 16,000, it reduced to 14,000 right away, right? So this is an influencing field. So I bring it down to even 2010, right? It went down even further. So the model, irrespective of what your input parameters are, as long as you have historical data that's large enough to make predictions, the model can accurately make a prediction out for you, right? So this gives you an idea of how you can use prediction to make numerical value prediction. It could be price, it could be delivery date, it could be average delivery time for your products. As long as you have a relevant data set, you can use the prediction model and build one out. Right? So that covers the custom AI models demo part. So I have an application built for you where I can also show you how I've used AI models to add intelligence to my apps, right? So just to give you a context of this application, this is a car service management application where I have modules for to take in vehicle details, and I have a claim form in place which can, in case the customer wants to file an insurance claim, those details are captured here. And I have an inventory module as well where I'm tracking the car inventory. And I have an insurance claim model here where I have a prediction classification model built, which will predict if the insurance claim is fraud or not based on the inputs. And I also have a service feedback form, which will give you an idea, which can be used by customers to give their feedback on the service. So I will quickly dive into it and tell you how the model can actually work. In this case, if you see, there's a vehicle image field here. So as soon as the vehicle enters the service, let's say uh, the service advisor takes a image of the vehicle and is just going to upload that image into the form. The model is going to predict if the particular car model itself, as long as you have a model built out, let's say Skoda Laura in this case, and the part damage, right? So next would be to analyze what parts are damaged in this vehicle, right? So the model accurately predicted it's a side door mirror. So once you have the vehicle name and damage part in picture, I'm going to go into my inventory and check, hey, for this vehicle, if you have this part. So I have a workflow in place which is able to tell me if there is an inventory for this particular part. It said yes. So let's say the customer wants to claim the insurance in this case. The customer selects yes. Which goes into the claim part, right? So this is where I have a custom OCR model built, which is going to save time on the form input part itself, right? So I'm going to upload the insurance right away. And while the OCR does the job for me, I'm going to go in and type in other details of the form. Right. So as you can see, most of the insurance details are extracted into these fields. The policy number, issuance date, all the vehicle details are extracted, and any other details that are not part of the model that I built, you can build other models and extract those details as well, as long as you have similar formatted documents, right? So this way OCR can enable your digitize your data entry into your forms. So I've just hit submit. Moving on to the insurance claim part, right? So this is where I have a model built which can predict the fraud claim. In this case, let's say I have details on this customer and I'm going to input those details. Months customer, let's say I'm saying 12, and the incident severity, let's say a major damage. And in this case, let's say the authorities contacted by the customer is none, and the total claim amount is as observed as 100,000. So the model came out saying that, hey, this might be a fraud claim, right? So based on the parameters involved, the model is able to predict accurately that this might be a fraud claim. So this can go into the insurers, and we can probably tell them that, hey, this might be a fraud claim, right? So I've given you an idea of how you can implement these models into your business process. This might work differently for the applications that you built on Creator, but I hope this gives you an idea of how you can go about it, right? So next, I have a service feedback form as well. Let's say this is a public form that I've given to the customer where the customer can go in and rate the service. The service rating, let's say it's fair, wait time, let's say more than 30. Let's say the service feedback. Let's say the car service was good, but the wait time was annoying, right? So as soon as the analysis model says it's annoying, the sentiment from feedback goes as negative, right? So this way you can gather user feedback and write a sentiment from it. And let's say I'll also fill the other parts of it. Additional comments. Area could be better. It was unclean. So certain keywords were also extracted from these comments that was given to the customer. This way you can make use of the ready-to-use text-based models that we have on Creator, right? So that sums up the demo part from my end. So we can dive straight into the questions. Thanks everyone for joining in.
Thank you so much, Vasan. That was an insightful session. I think we have a couple of questions
Right.
by you.
Okay, I stopped it. Can I create a module to extract the data from an XML, I guess? So we'll start from there, side. So
Done, done,
I'm
done.
going to Mustafa's question. Can we create a custom function on Creator and call it as API? I might have to get back on this question. as far as I know, it's not possible right now to call a custom function as an API, but maybe you can reach out to me and I can direct you to the team which can answer this for you, Mustafa, right? So okay. Question from Preeti, can we detect advertisement from e-paper PDF? Detect advertisement from e-paper PDF. I might have to look into the data, Preeti, before I answer this question out for you. So I will leave my email in the Q&A once the session ends. So you can email the sample data to me so that I can have a look at it and let you know if this is possible. Right. So question by Bharat again, in text detection, if you have a mix of languages in the pre-printed form or which the data is printed in English, or text detection will still be possible. Right. As long as there is English in the data that you use, it is possible. But custom OCR does not work for other languages for now. If you have data in English in your data set, yes, that can be extracted into your form feeds. Yeah. Question from Ken, how well does the system work with unstructured data? For example, can I load a series of marketing flyers and ask questions about those files? Okay. No, not right now. That's more, if you ask me, that's more along the generative AI part where you can actually load data and ask questions to it, which comes later. But I would, Ken, I would love to understand why you would want to do that. So, like, I'll leave my email, like I said, in the Q&A section at the end, so that we can touch base later and understand what uh, uh, why you might want to do this and what is the use case that you have for you know asking marketing flyers a set of questions. So when I have a clear picture on that, I would be able to answer you better. Right. I'm Bharat Quest. Okay, I mean for the printed information. If we have mix of languages in the pre-printed form. Okay. Hey Bharat, then again, I will have to touch base with you later on this. Maybe have a look at the data as well before I give you an understanding of if you can do OCR on that data. Right now, maybe not a good time to answer this question, but I would love to have a look at the data for sure. Can you send me the link to the recording of this meeting? Yes. Syed. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I already have a Zoho One account. Hope all AI creator is bundled in that account. Yes. If you're on a C6 account and you're able to see the microservices section, you're basically a C6 customer, so you will be able to use the AI services there. Right. I recently upgraded to C8. I can't find microservices in Creator. Okay, maybe okay. We don't have something called C8, so I'm assuming it's C6, and it might be because you could be a developer in your org. Maybe your admins are the ones who can access microservices. Maybe you can change your privilege to an admin and see if you can access the microservices in C6. Right. Question from Roosebay again. When we have multiple invoice formats, does the AI service detect them to pick the correct model to map the fields? No. To answer your question, no. Multiple invoice formats will not work in this case, as the value is based on the coordinates that you given when you train the model. So when you have multiple invoice formats, the values are going to be in different locations as such. So the model might be able to pick a few values here and there, but it might not be able to correctly pick all the values in it's of a different format. As you said earlier, for each data invoice format, we have to create a new model. Yeah, right now, that's how we are going about it, Rosebay, but we're trying to bring in an LLM side to the model itself. So once we do that, once we get a context of what the data is, we might be able to tackle the different invoice formats part as well. But we're working on that, right? Okay. When I retrain the model, can I provide different set of images that I had originally provided? Yes, you can do that. I'm assuming you're talking about the object detection model. So you can add different set of images for the image for the model to understand your ask better. If you're talking about the OCR model, no. Like I said, we need similar formatted images to train the model. So for the OCR, no. For the object detection model, yes. That's the answer. Is there a limit on how many models can be created? I mean, if you have 100 different vendors, would need 100 models, right? Right. Okay. Question to answer Bharat's question. So we have a 100 model limit for custom models and 250 for ready to use. If you're on professional and ultimate, if you're on a standard plan, it's 5x lesser. But if you have a need for more than 100 models, please reach out to me. I'll be able to help you with that. So
Also,
how can I?
if we have, sorry to interrupt you, Vasant. Also, if you have missed out on few set of questions in between, I would request everyone to, drop in an email to Vasant or me. We'll be, delighted to clear all your queries.
Right. So how can I link the invoice data with the form? Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question, Khalid. Maybe reach out to me later so that I can help you out better with that. Right. Question from Seetam Singh. Are these possible to create this type of applications in C5 version? Right. C5 version, we don't have something called AI modeler, but we do have AI fields where we have supported the basic models in C5. You can make use of that. So that hope that answers Seetham's question. Questions from Yuan. How many objects you can add for training? Right. No limit as such. As long as the model size is 250 MB and you have the relevant data, you can go ahead and train the model. But just that when you add more data, the model is going to take a lot of time to train itself and may also take a lot of time to query. So I would recommend having not more than 10 objects per model. How can we add this model in the live applications or use in the live applications, right? So when after you train the model, you'll see an option called use model. When you hit use model, you'll be shown the application or the form name there. So you select the application and the form name where you want to deploy it, and it is going to take straight away into your application where this model can be deployed. Hope that answers a base question. Yeah. So base column is the output of a function, and the dependent columns are the input variables of a function. Question by Brian. Yes, Brian, that's right. Base column is the output. It is basically the column for which you make a prediction, and dependent columns are the input variables. That's great. Yeah. I ask because in classical mathematics, this is to counter the two notion as an input is independent, output is dependent. Okay. Okay, here when we say dependent, what we try to convey is which are the columns or which is the data that will influence this prediction. So we might have to take a look into that for sure. Thanks, Brian, for the information. What to do if the OCR result is wrong? How to correct it? Okay, the OCR result need not be wrong as long as the document you use to infer the model is readable. It's mostly not wrong. We have ensured that the OCR results is mostly not wrong. But in case you think the OCR result is wrong, we are working on a change which will enable this field in your form. Like when you query an image and it's going to return some set of values into the form. Right now the field is disabled, but you can enable a certain field and just correct the value and enter it. Right. So that's possible. Kamalesh, thank you so much. Thank you, Kamalesh, so much for dialing in. Great to have you. Could you show us how to integrate the microservices inside the forms? Question by Louis. Okay, like I said, okay, yeah, like I said, you can make use of the use model from the detail view once you train the model. In case you have any doubts, we'll make sure we'll drop in some help documents which will guide you on how to integrate the AI models into your form. Consider there is multiple image for car damage. For example, multiple parts are damaged, right? Right. Question by Farhan. Farhan, for this, because it was an object detection model, you need to train the model with multiple images for the model to detect which part is which part, right? So when you do that, you can make use of the object detection model to detect multiple parts as well. What if the images have background in image detection, right? Okay, that is a concern for sure. But the models that I've trained had background images, but it was still able to detect the uh, object that was in the forefront. So we would recommend doing it in uploading images that are in a plain background, but some cases you may have multiple images, but let's try to upload images that have a plain background. Can OCR work with handwritten docs? No, not right now, but we're working on this part, Imran. We'll get back to you on this. If we have multiple formats of invoice, for example, we need to build multiple models. Yes. Question by Hosam. Yes, you need to build multiple models at this point. Question by Sri Bilwa. Once a model is trained, is there a limit on how many calls can be made to the trained model? Like I said, if you're on a paid plan, if you're on a standard plan, you can make 200 calls per month. That's across all the models. There's no limit on a single model as such. It's for all the models. For any model that you call, it will be a one AA call that is made. If you're on a paid plan, professional or enterprise, you can make 1,000 calls. So beyond which you have to purchase an add-on. Right? What is your AI service enhancement roadmap, or is there any plan for it at all? Question by Rose Day. Yes, we do have a roadmap for our AI service enhancement. We do keep updating our Zoho roadmap webpage, which will have details on the items that are planned for each year. So you can have a look at it. Specifically to AI, we do have some things coming up in 2024. We do have a generative AI related feature that will be rolled out by end of Q4. So if you go into the roadmap right now and have a look at it, you will be able to see the feature related information as well. Question by Seetham. I just joined in the middle. May I know in which version that you've created this application? Okay, I've created this application in C6, Seetham. Okay. Question from Khalid. After we get through the OCR, the invoice data, how can I link with invoice form? Like I said, you can make use of the use model to link your form with the OCR. Anyway, we'll send out the help documents and other sample data for you to test this model out. Can we add additional samples for training after use for enhancement? Yes, absolutely. You can add additional samples for training for sure. This is definitely going to improve the accuracy of the models. So we would recommend doing that if you're not happy with the results provided by the model.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think this is hopefully these are the questions. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Vasant, for such an insightful session. Hope all our customers, really had a good time. Looking forward to interact with you all. We have dropped our email IDs. You can, drop in a mail if you have any queries. We'll try to send you the recording as soon as possible and keep you guys posted on the new enhancements and updates further. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.
Thanks for joining in, everyone. Cheers.